Howdy folks, it's the 18th of July, a Friday, because miraculously the heavens are going to open for Saturday, Sunday and Monday apparently. So the grain boys, just as they've got their very poor crop ready from no rain, it's going to thump it down just as they want to bring it in. So they're not happy, but the stock boys are very happy because everyone's lost all their grass, and even the horsey people, they've lost all their grass, so that will be delightful for them. So I've taken the decision, it's the 22nd visit, I've taken the decision that I'm going to, at Apiary 2 here, I'm going to knock the honey production on the head. I'm not going to knock the colonies on the head, obviously. So we've got to decide, or I've got to decide, you know, in what order to do it, and I think I'm just going to take all the honey off all 3 colonies down here, and that is normally the plan, to do them all at the same time in the apiary so they don't rob each other. However, we've got 3 different sources of candy stroke protein to choose from. This one, this particular brand, that's the one you saw me in episodes or visit 1 and 2, 3, maybe 4, I can't remember now, right in January to March, feeding the bees, because it's a very sort of, look, it has this sort of, it's squidgy and pliable in the packet, and so you can squidge it down on top of the frames, which is what you have to do. You have to get it on top of the frames close enough to the nest so they'll actually use it. So I like that stuff, and I went to buy it this year and they were out of stock, and also it was at least £1.50 per sachet there, kilogram, more expensive than the alternative, which is this stuff, which comes from our little friends in Ireland. It's absolutely marvellous stuff, this. So this is, and I think they sell this, a lot of this in America. Pretty sure they do. And it's new, look. And yeah, that keeps them alive. So that's great. Not recommending any particular brand, and I don't know how they're all going to work. This one, I've cut these in half ready to go, and they're already oozing. This is much harder stuff. Look, oh, hang on. This won't bend. Well, it does bend, but not much. That's quite stable, that stuff. And it smells, I don't know what it smells of. It smells of vanilla or something. It's got an odd smell, but it's nice. This stuff smells of vanilla. That smells of brewer's yeast, I think. But they're all, the key thing is that they're all vegetable protein based. This one, super protein candy, is by Dulcofruct, or Dulcofruct, and lucky it's not Dulcolax, because then you would really be in trouble. You'd certainly be fruct if you couldn't find a toilet. Anyway, joking aside, this has got a better variant of sugars. This has got fructose, glucose and sucrose all in one patty. So the plan is to give them half of one of those and half of one of these, and we'll just watch and see which one they go for, or both. I really think I should have put a little container in there with water in it, because they need to mix it with water to make it soluble. But there is a water trough around the corner. They'll be able to deal with that on their own. So it's I'm not going to feed any of this. I've only got 1 sachet. I'll just keep it in reserve. So we're going to be feeding half of one of these per colony, half of one of these per colony, and we'll see which one they go for the best. They're of a similar price. You know, I think 12 or 15 they come in a box, and they worked out about 60 quid per box, including delivery. So that sort of cost. So we're the middle of July, and we've got to get, I'll explain later when we're going through the colonies, we've got to get to the end of September. So I've probably got 2 or 3 weeks supply of this stuff. So that's the end of, maybe the end of August, or the last week in August, and then another month of it, probably another 6 weeks. So there's 300 or 400 quid gone on food just to get them to the winter. And we haven't even started feeding this liquid syrup yet, which I use to bung the hive up so they don't fill it with ivy honey, and they've got a full nest for the winter. So this is really and purely and only to keep the queen laying and keep the colony alive, because nature here in the UK, in the sort of middle to south of England, nature's just rolled over and given up. There's no nectar coming in. There's pollen coming in, but there's no nectar. So they are just going to starve out. They'll get ratty with each other. They'll be robbing, and instead of having 2 or 3 colonies, you might just have 1 if you're lucky, and they might roll over as well. Worse than that, the queen will stop laying, and then you'll have no bees for next year at all. So off we go. That's the intro, and yeah, here we go. And I forgot to mention, you know, this product here, it's got sciences and whatnot involved. So it's got vitamins and minerals, and as we've discussed, vitamins are just vital minerals that any sort of living organism needs to survive. And I don't know whether you can read that, whether it's close enough or not. I can't read it anyway. So it's just basically it promotes families and swarms under development. It helps preparation for wintering, preparation for the population destined for separation, growing families, blah 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 blah. Instructions for use, give it to them. Right, and then here's the super protein candy here. Well balanced content, specially created for bees. Well, it's lucky it's not humans. Increases eggs from the queen, high bee longevity, so it's good for the winter. Contains probiotics and bacteria that develops bees' immunity. Good. Right, so there's all these sort of things in here as well. Helps to create a fat body and recover bee families regardless of the period of nature or in nature. So all good stuff for the winter. So we'll just see how they get on with it. Take a screenshot of that if you like. Seems to be pretty good stuff, and they do another range of products, but like everything, I'm afraid I'm a proofs in the pudding type of bloke, and we'll just see. The evidence will show whether they like it or whether they prefer this brand. I have no loyalty to either or any promotions from either. It's just whatever's best for the bees, but they're both vegetable proteins. That's the key thing. Right, so the smoker's on the go. We're out here now, and it's a tough call, this one, what to do. You've got 2 supers of honey there, and I can't remember, I think there's 3 in there, and there's 1 over there. In this baby little this sort of small apiary where all the colonies are fairly small, we didn't find a queen in there, so there might not be a queen. So the bottom line is, if the colonies are small, the difficulty you've got, normally you would try and reduce the hive down 1 box by 1 box by 1 box, and I am going to do that at apiary 1. But because there's so little food down here and there's very little activity, look, they are flying, but there's not a flow. You know, they're barely doing anything at all. It's quite a contented noise. You can hear it's just a little hum and a purr. They're not going brrr. If you hear this sort of noise like that, like a mouthwash sort of noise, that means they're either starving or really hungry, or they haven't got a queen. So they're just as quiet as well, but we haven't opened the lid yet. There's not a lot of activity, so the colonies have knocked back. I walked around yesterday coming down to get this super off, and the worker bees were pulling the drones out and getting shot of them. There's a tiny bit of pollen went in there just now, tiniest little bit. So pulling the drones out means that they've recognised that the season's come to an end, and therefore they're preparing for winter. So the structure of the bees that are being born will change as well now over time. So this is a crucial time for Varroa treatment and feeding the bees to keep them healthy. You can see the problem though. Look, you've got that depth of box, which is less than those 2. So if there are a lot of bees in there and a lot of bees in there, they are going to get absolutely jam-packed full. And that's not, you know, a joke about Indian products or anything. It's just basically they are going to get squashed, and they might get the hump because they're being squashed. So normally you would just take 1 layer off, and then they get used to the fact that the box is shrinking. and then you take another layer off and you do it bit by bit. But like I've said, they're so desperate for food down here, I think that I'm just going to bite the bullet. We'll find out for definite when we open them up, but there's one with a tiny bit of pollen just come in, but there's not much of it. I don't know where that black bee's. Oh no, is she an invader? This black one here? No, she's just popped in, so I wonder if there is a queen in there. It's just we haven't found her. I'm not going to faff around looking for a queen today. I'm just going to try and get them but all out of there and feed them. So I'll just stop this and get set up and show you what I'm going to do. Right, so my cunning plan is so cunning it's got a tail on it. I'm going to put this board, this is called the clearer board, you've seen this before. The bees go through that little hole there, they can smell the colony below through the slats, they pop out of this little door here, there, and then they join the colony below and they can't get back up. That some of them work out how to go back through there, but one or two is nothing. And then they can go down through there and they'll meet the top of the crown board of the colony. I've left it, I'll have to show you because I've kept them all the right way around. So I've left the little door that you saw in episodes 1 and 2, the little door there, so they can come up and they can feed on this candy and then go back down again. So that is the trick. So at least they're coming down for some food. The only problem is I haven't got enough of these clearer boards because my mum died last year and I lost 2 months administering the estate. So now I didn't get any chance during the winter to make some more of those. So I'm just going to have to muddle through, like a lot of life really. You just keep muddling through, don't you, seeing if you can get through it. But anyway, same for everyone. So that's the plan. We'll just see how we get on with these here. So I'll just smoke them, do the smoke trick, and then we'll see what happens. I think the colony next to these were the ones that really went for these once I'd opened them. But it seems fairly calm today. There might be a bit of a nectar flow or a bit of something, but yeah, that's it. Right, I've got my trusty milk float crate, which I'm going to use as a platform, which I got from a mate Dave, not the carpenter Dave. He's another mate of mine I went to school with. He got them from his dad's business, or his dad, when his dad was doing a milk business back in the day when you used to have milk delivered, which has completely stopped now, which is odd, but the way life has gone. So this one is quite heavy. Right, there are a few bees up here. Let's have a quick look underneath here. So yeah, that is, I'm not sure you can see that. Can you see this? So that is reasonably full of bees here. It's not chock-a-block, and I think they will all fit in downstairs. So I'm just going to go for it. This one's quite light. There are quite a few bees, and they don't seem to be being hassled just yet from next door. So I'll just have a quick peek in here, see if there is any nest being built. Yeah, they're getting the hump already, so yeah, we are properly into robbing season now. Ah, is that the queen there? Look at that, on the first frame. Can you believe the luck of that? So I wonder if I can keep her separated here and go and get a marker pen. Can you believe it? The one time you don't bring a blooming pen and the queen's there. take this one out just for safekeeping. Yeah, they don't like this at all. They are out of grub completely. And you can't feed when the supers are on. So this is the balancing act. You're trying to get the supers off and keep them nourished at the same thing at the same time. And because I can't come down tomorrow because it's going to chuck it down. Anyway, I'll stop and come back. Right, I found her and marked her, but I couldn't film it, I'm afraid, because I forgot to push the button. And there she is, right on the end of the frame there. Orange one again. So hopefully these won't turn next year. Can you? Oh, where am I going? Here. There. Lovely queen. So we'll put these back together. And I'm just going to risk, there's nothing going into this nest. There's no expansion. Look, these haven't been touched. So I think they do need feeding, and I think I'm looking, there's quite a few bees in here, but I'm just going to risk it and go for it. Because look, they're mardy. They've got a brand new queen. They want food and they haven't got any, so they're going to get grumpy. So sometimes you just have to make a decision, for better, for worse. I'm not making any reference to marriage, but that does happen as well sometimes. And yeah. So that might just help them along a bit. There we go. That one's reasonably heavy, so they've either finished that off, I don't know. Anyway, like I said, there's a limit. So, Brucey bonus, we found a queen. I was slightly suspicious, or reasonably confident, whichever way, however you want to look at it. Pretty quietly confident there was a queen in there, because a lot of the brood nest was left open and clean, which generally indicates that there's a queen in there. She just hasn't started laying yet. Anyway, so that's a double good news. Right, we'll move on to the next colony. Right, I've done the smoke trick, so we'll just wade in. They're hassling me now, so I don't know whether it's this colony that are hassling or not. So we're going to do the same trick with these, although I haven't got a roof to put them in because I've forgotten to bring it down. So I'll go and get the roof and then we'll start. Right, got the roof, done the smoke trick. That one's pretty light. And so is that one. So they are going to starve out if you're not careful. And, or, I mean, they store honey for a reason. They store it for themselves, not for you to steal it off them, but, you know, that's what we're doing as beekeepers, effectively. Mr. Wasp twice then. So the danger is that they will rob you of all your honey and production and income in this particular case. Not that it's all about income, because we've had a good season up till now, so really I can't grizzle at all. And I've got another delivery to make. That's another wasp gone. Right. I've got another delivery to make to the shop today, so we will just have a quick look while we're here for a queen. I don't think we found one in here last week, did we? Somebody might remember. But yeah, you see they're shutting down, they know. See, this is empty, ready for laying. I can't see any eggs in there just at the moment, but the colony decide for the queen. Yeah, there is some capped brood and growing brood, and you can see it all round the edge of all round the edge here, where round the brood that's ready to be born. You can see the grubs growing in there. He says, I'm just hoping you can see that because the sunlight's not shining in it directly. And so the trick again, you don't want to feed at this time of year. Don't start feeding sugar syrup. Right, this is riddled with eggs, which is fantastic. All of this here, all round here, is all riddled with eggs. So we have definitely got a queen in here. I'm just going to risk it. See if we can just see her lovely brood pattern, nest being expanded around it. You know, we've got to get these girls now through 6 to 9 weeks of nothingness, unless the thunderstorms bring us something afterwards. But they're going to be locked in for 3 days. They're going to be hacked off. They haven't been able to get any food, and I don't want to go there. I would just rather that they were all in the same position where they've all got the same amount of grub. This is a bigger nest because this queen has been laying for longer. You can see, you know, there's brood, but you know, when that's born, looks like that's probably going to come out in the next week or over the next 10 days. There'll be space for her to lay, and I've got a spare box of frames with a bit of laying. This can go, this drone brood can go, you see. I think this one, they've plugged it all up with honey anyway. Yeah, pretty much. So that can go. Yeah, look, it's all plugged out with honey. So yeah, quick run back through these just in case we can spot her. It will save a lot of faffing around, but don't forget, next week we'll be just looking at this one box. So if you can't find your queen at this stage in the year, don't worry. There will be several opportunities while the weather's reasonably good to find her. But they seem calmer than the ones next door, so anyway, I think, and these bees in here are all what we call summer bees. Not wannabes, but summer bees. And summer bees don't last as long biologically as winter bees, partly because of their physiology. They haven't got as many fats laid down in their body because they just need all their energy to fly, and partly because they don't last as long because their wings, because they've flown so much, the little hooks that I mentioned in the entomology video, which you can find, there are 2 little hooks that join their wings together. They break, and or the wings delaminate from their structure, if you like, and so they can't fly. So they go to fly, they flap the wings, and there's nothing there to lift them up. So they basically don't fly, and then they just die wherever they are, in the cold or in here, and then the nurse bees clear them out. So yet again, we've got a very elusive queen in here. I'm not sure if you can hear that note, but they are bored. Oh, there are grubs in here, in this back frame, or next to back frame. And so the point of telling you that these are all summer bees is that at some point they will be dying back. So although the nest is going to be fairly claustrophobic for a while, it's not going to be the end of the world. Yeah, and there's a lot of robbing pressure here. You can see them, they're all getting jumpy now this has been opened. There are lots of bees just, and there's a wasp. Well, there was a wasp. Bye. Yeah. So I think knocking honey production on the head and concentrating on bee production for the winter is the way to go. Nothing in life is perfect, and the worst thing you can do, and my late mum used to say this to me, is the crime is to take no action. That is the crime. If you see something that's wrong and you don't do anything about it, that's the crime. And although she got quite a few things wrong, or you know, we disagreed about quite a lot of stuff, actually, she got that one right, totally right. And there's lots of philosophy about that, you know. There's what's the thing, the devil plays where good men take no action. And the perpetrators of crime only commit crime when they think nobody's watching them. All those sorts of things, all rings true. So yeah, there we go. You can see that there's quite a lot of activity around these now, so I think that is the right decision. Anyway, we'll just lock these up and move on to the next one. Right, on this colony, because it's a small colony, that queen only just got going a few weeks ago, I want to try this little beast on them. And there's a very well thought of and respected queen producer in the UK, in the south of UK, who said to me at a meeting a little while back, beekeepers meeting, he said you can always test the temperament of your bees if you use a blower to blow them out of the supers. So yeah, guess we're going to find that out now, unless it's absolutely rammed with bees. If it's rammed with bees, I'm not going to risk it. I'll just put the separating board on, but it will give me another one just in case I need it up at the other apiary. So let's see how we go. I'll just zoomed out there so you can see the whole thing. We'll just have a quick look, and I've smoked them, so we'll just see what happens. Yeah, as you can see, there's quite a few bees up there. I'm not going to risk it. It's just going to agitate them like guano. It's quite full, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of bees there. I'm not going to look for the claw ammo, but yeah, let me just look for, make sure that the nest is only 4 frames at the moment. We'll just have a quick peek in here and see if it's expanded or not. Well, they're starting to do something with that, not a lot. They always pull out the wrong side of the nest in comb, and I just don't get that behaviour. You would think, and that's pulled out okay, you would think that they would do it the other way round, but who knows, maybe it's female logic. Yeah, so I'm not going to mess around with these, I'm just going to swap that frame around. yeah, she has used that one. See, so that was worth doing last time. And there's some grubs and eggs there. So that was worth doing. I'll put that down there, like that. And then we'll stick this one so they can expand again. I think there's some more brood on that one. Maybe she's just trying to go forward, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, she is going forward. Okay. So we'll just give them another frame to go at down here. I'm not going to worry too much. I would safely assume that the queen is in here. It's unusual for them to swarm at this time of the year, but they do it. And this is last year's queen, so it's unlikely. But hey, stranger things have happened. Get out, you wasp. Hey, clear off. Blooming things. Alright, that should calm them all down now in this apiary. And the beauty of this system, having this as a baby eek and also a feeding tray, is that you can, at this time of year, take the lid off here. When the super's gone, you can put the lid on here. Well, this will go as well, and then you can just lift the lid up and put your things in and put the lid down again. This little door thing, they probably won't use this in, well, they don't use it in the winter, I've found, because I've come back in the spring and all this lot's just gone to goo. But at this time of the year, when the weather's warm, they will come up and look for it. So it allows you that facility to feed them without having to disturb them too much. If there is, you know, if you've got a lot of robbing going on in your apiary, then you can eventually see this lid here will come off and go down onto that feeder board, and you can just lift the lid in, chuck the 2 bits of candy in there and shut the lid down, and it saves everyone fighting each other. So you might find that helpful, you might not, but there you go, that's it.